So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where in the world that you're joining us from. I'm always super excited to have Satyen Raja as one of our guest mentors on one of these calls. So I'm going to just dive in and introduce him because I don't want to steal a minute of his time. Satyen is known as the private transformational mentor, advisor, and confidant to the powerful and influential. Satyen combines the power of the warrior and the wisdom of the sage to inspire audiences and leaders worldwide to live their highest impact and personal fulfillment. Having invested 35 years of rigorous study and practice in both creating enlightened business growth and developing higher consciousness, he's the leading authority on expanding success while serving the greater good without sacrificing the joys of personal life. Satyen has impacted over 100,000 students from over 50 countries around the world through his global human potential company, Warrior Sage. Satyen leads private one-on-one retreats for CEOs, high-impact individuals, executive teams, and is a corporate cultural advisor and trainer for elite companies. His fearless and heartfelt style transform your limitations into strengths and your life into peak existence. He's also very generously, one of his philanthropies is that he teaches one of the master trainer weekends for the EBC and occasionally leads these beautiful calls for us as part of our mentorship program. So without further ado, very excited to turn it over to one of my mentors, Satyen Raja. Satyen, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Always a pleasure to be here with EBC and all of you good folks. I'd like to just take maybe just a short couple of minutes to get a little introduction. Tell me what brought you here, your name, where you're from, what brought you here, what about the topic inspired you, and that'll help me dial in and be able to serve each one of you individually. And obviously those are coming at a recorded time. I'm going to give some expansion, some breadth of teaching, so everyone here is served, whether you're here live. But those of you here live, I want to make it extra special and answer and support you in your unique business and experience that you'd like to dial up today as well. Does that sound good?
Sounds great. Why don't we start with
Okay.
Kelly? Kelly, do you want to go first?
Go ahead. We'll unmute you there, Kelly.
I'm going to unmute you at my end. Okay.
Hi, I'm Kelly Kalin. I am a life energetic and transformational coach. And what inspired me about this mostly was the word transformational. That's something that I'm very interested in and work with myself. So I just wanted to see what you had to say, and I'm very happy to be here.
Excellent. Thank you, Kelly. Awesome. Very good.
Dr. Ulwin, would you like to go next? I'll unmute you on my end if I can. Oh, it's not working. You're going to have to unmute on your end. Sorry, I don't know why.
Yes, I'm Dr. Ulwin, and I work originally from Trinidad, and I work with high achievers globally so that they could live legendary lives. And freedom is my passion, and I was curious with the topic in terms of sexual energy and influence. That's part of freedom. So curious.
Very good. Welcome. Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Ulwin. Lisa Dad, I'm going to unmute you. You're up next. Oh, you're going to have to do yourself. It's not letting me.
Yeah. I must have the settings to be like, you can't let me. Hi, Satyen. I am currently just north of LA, but I actually live a couple hours north of Toronto. And my focus is helping people find more fabulous at work and play. And I do that through working with people in personal leadership. And I use social emotional learning. I work with a nonprofit that does that with youth. And then I also do that with high performing, high achieving women.
Fantastic. What part of where north of Toronto are you?
So I'm. Do you know Ontario well?
Yes, I do. I lived in Brampton most of my life.
Okay, so my place is just south of Parry Sound.
Okay, wonderful.
Up in the Muskokas, yeah.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Okay.
And Adam, my friend.
You're going to have to unmute yourself, Adam, for whatever reason.
Brother.
Yeah.
I'm here because I worked with Satyen a little less than a month ago in Vancouver for a full week, and clearly the topic resonates now, especially with some of the social posts I've been seeing. And so there's that whole idea about as you come into prominence and become more in flow with who you are, that sexual energy starts to rise, and how to be able to embody that compassionately and responsibly.
Very, very good.
Beautiful.
Very good. Thank you. This is a very powerful piece, prominence. So I'm going to speak about that, and I'm going to make a note of that. Very
Beautiful.
good. Thank you.
Kaylin, you're up, and it's not letting me unmute you either. I don't know what's going on because I am the host. It's not giving me control of the mute buttons.
All right. I'm Kaylin Ravenzi, and I currently live in Omaha, Nebraska. I am a woman's life coach, although I've been given some fun opportunities to work with men as well and helping them to come into their own joy and happiness. And I have since discovered over the past probably 9 months, my calling is to work specifically with Christian parents of LGBTQ plus children. But what's really, because I am a Christian parent of an gay son, awesome. What's been really cool is I've discovered that I've been given the gift of sexual empath. Oh, I don't even know what that is. All I know is that there's some stuff I'm learning deeply from the universe. And when I saw this title, I have to zone in because this is my time to learn. I need to know that there's healing gifts for me in this realm, and I'm looking to tap in and see what those are.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. And you're my new Facebook friend, aren't you?
Yes. And I love all of your postings in Warrior Sage. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Sharon, you're up next. You're going to have to unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm Sharon Bowes, and I live in Canmore, Alberta. The beautiful mountains, and they're gorgeous, gorgeous sunny day today again, and still snow-capped, which is awesome. Yeah, I was really intrigued by this because I'm very interested in transformational energy, spirit energy of all kinds, and looking at how to unleash innovative, creative spaces in business, in individuals, in transformational change, in a number of different groups, organizations, and so on, as well as in teaching and learning environments where people have the space and create the space of spiritual or unleashed spirit energy so that you can have creativity and innovative conversations, because I believe the planet requires us to think differently and to come up with new solutions, but not in the same way that we've been doing in the past. So unleashing that energy, because I 100% believe that everyone is brilliant in this world, and we need to tap into that brilliance in some way, shape, or form, and unleash it, get new ideas, new suggestions, new ways of growth, and very, very, very intrigued by transformational energy. And sexual energy is a part of spirit energy. So interweaving that with the other forms would be awesome.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. And Canmore also has a very special place in my heart, because that's where, as a young fellow, my Kung Fu master is in Canmore, and I would visit there, go to the mountains and train, in the summertime. So nice to have that connection. Beautiful. Thank you.
Let me know when you're back in town. We'll get together.
Okay. Shall do. Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, Naomi, are you able to talk while you're driving?
I am. I'm actually a member of CMT, so I'm looking forward to studying with Satyen in July. I'm on my way to prison for my last goodbye, teaching nonviolent communication, and it's really out of my comfort zone. But I'm going to talk today about being a superhero and using resources, training, and focus to change. And I've learned so much from these men in the last 10 weeks. My normal group is midlife professional women, and this was to grow myself. So I can listen to this until I have to actually enter the prison in 30 minutes. And I just wanted to be part of this exciting learning. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're most welcome. Okay, beautiful.
Beautiful. Brenda, you are up next, and you're going to have to unmute yourself.
Hi, I'm a new member of EBI, and I wanted to be on the call because I'm, seeing what you guys are up to, but the topic sounds very interesting as well. I've been a consultant for, well, since 1990, business and technology consultant. I started a tech company when I was 23. And part of why I joined, a big part of why I joined EBI is because I feel a calling to help people overcome trauma and adversity. And I have a whole story about that. And one of the things that I'm really interested in about what you're talking about today is because I know that I have, and I've been told by different people about how my energy impacts others. And I've been going through all these processes. I got a clearing from a Peruvian shaman a couple weeks, 3 weeks ago, that was huge transformation, like in like the space of an hour, and other people. And I need to continue to clear out any dark energy that was instilled in me during the horrid trauma that I experienced growing up, because it's not me and it's not my fault that happened, right? So I need to do that so that I can bring my message to more people, because I really realize that that's how I leave a more positive world than what I came into.
Beautiful. Thank you. Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Welcome and welcome. You're in an amazing group of people, and who are all really connected.
The Spawn Fitness Center is this way.
Oh, and I'm in Calgary right now, but I'm from Toronto, so I've lived all over.
Okay, awesome.
Beautiful. Kelly, we've got some background noise in your vicinity, so I'm going to skip over you just for the moment, hoping we can get that addressed. Carrie, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hey.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm going to be in your CMT training coming up. So I'm looking forward to being there in July and getting to work with you directly. So I thought, I'll get myself a little Satyen dose today and see what you got in store for us. I'm excited to experience
You have
it.
no idea.
Wow.
It will be amazing.
Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up. That would be a good way to
All
say
right,
it.
I'm ready. Bring
Beautiful. It. Okay. Kelly, are you okay to go wherever you are? Kelly, can you hear us?
No, I'm not. Am I unmuted?
Yep, you're unmuted.
I'm walking to my car, so the sound ought to get better.
Okay. I'll go to the next person and then I'll come back to you. So we have someone on the phone lines who's at a line ending in 9891. Do you want to let us know who that is?
Hi, it's Renee Pacer-Paul, and I am in transit, so I'm hoping to be able to get on where you can see me live soon, but I wanted to get on when the call started as quickly as possible.
Brilliant. And do you want to talk about what brought you here today?
Yes, I specialize in speaking, training, and coaching on recovery from sexual violence and using creative tools to help in that process. So this topic was definitely of great interest to me.
Beautiful. Yeah, you're in the right place, that's for sure. Kelly, I'm going to
Awesome.
unmute you one more time. We'll see if we can.
Fun to see you. Oh, it's good to see you too. Okay, take care. All right, bye. So I introduced myself first, so I'm not sure if you want me to go again.
Oh, Kelly, we did have you at the beginning. Sorry, you moved on my screen. That's what confused me. Sorry about that.
Oh,
okay.
Apologies.
So we're all good. Okay.
We're all good.
No, I'll turn it over to Satyen then. Sorry about that, Kelly.
Okay, thank you very much for expressing what brought you here today. And so let's dive in. Let's just take 3 deep breaths in and out. Get in touch with our body. Get in touch with our breath. Get in touch with our being. And just bring yourself here and let the rest of the world fade away. So your total presence and awareness is here. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. So we're dealing with probably the most charged topic on the planet, or one of them. It's usually sex, power, sex, money, and politics, or something of that line. And so this particular topic is where we all originated from. Somewhere along the line, our parents had some level of modicum of passion, at least a little bit, for us to be able to be conceived, And through that conception, there was this energy of this, your father, biological father released. And then all of a sudden, you know, there's these guys like, hey, we got to get over there. Get out of the way, get out of the way. Let's go. And then you've got these other, you know, eggs going, hey, come and see me. I'm over here. Come and get me. Come and see me. And then they move out of the way. We got to get there. And then this got to get there with this sort of high, see me here. All of a sudden they met on some level, right? And one beat out all the others. It started tickling the outside of this particular egg, and then all of a sudden made it through. And this incredible energy that drew us, our soul force, our energy. We were created in this spark of passion, all of us, each and every one of us. So the key is to understand here, first and foremost, is that we all came from sexuality. Now, it's obvious, but to own that fact and to own that our cells are continuously replicating themselves through this sexual life force, trillions of them in this very moment, it's happening. In this very moment, each and every one of your cells is going through a sexual process of vibrating, coming into a duality, separating, and then more cells being created, some falling away and some dying, more being created, and this never ends. It even continues a little bit after our bodies die, or our soul leaves our body. It still continues for a little bit, this particular energy. So this energy, sexual life force, is a combination of the two foundational energetics of the cosmos. So I'm going to paint some cosmic pictures, some understandings from philosophy and metaphysics, and then I'm going to boil it right down to how it impacts us and how we can utilize it as leaders to make a greater impact in those we serve. So today is not going to be a relationship seminar. The focus specifically will be as us as transformational guides, leaders, people in business, people making a difference in other people's lives. So that'll be the focus. Is that good with everyone today? Okay. Obviously, the topic can have many, many ramifications. We can speak on many aspects of this, but today we'll dial on how can you be far more impactful in the work that you do to support the people that you support. Okay. Now, having said that, masculine and feminine energies. These are confusing terms to many people because there's a lot of cultural imprints, a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of skewed understandings, a lot of distortion in understandings around these energies. I hope to start clearing them up for you from this particular perspective. Now, masculine, feminine, we have the universal void, the divine void, the absolute, if you will, that transcends masculine, feminine, the eternal divine, God, absolute, whatever you want to call it. It can't even be called anything. We try to give it names, but whatever it's called, it's whatever it is. But from this, their non-dual state of existence, where there is no duality, there's just undifferentiated oneness. From that undifferentiated oneness, the first thing that arises is the primary duality of existence. And that primary duality is masculine and feminine. The ancients have known this for thousands of years. It's been called by the Indians, by the Hindus, Shiva, representing the masculine, Shakti, representing the feminine. There's many, many names for this from many, many cultures. That's just one example. Now, what masculine means in this definition, and the way I'm sharing it with, it does not mean male. Let's get that out of the way. Masculine, although masculine and male start with an M, it does not mean male. Masculine, from my perspective, means the unchanging state of being or witness consciousness that you are. The part in you that is never, ever changing. The part of you that is rested in eternal stillness and cessation of movement is the masculine consciousness. So the part that's watching right now, that's being present, the part that's being dialed in and tuning and seeing what's going on here, the part that steps above life, overviews, here's direction 1, direction 2, direction 3, here's possible directions we can go. and steps up above life, looks down below, and then decides which way we should go, what is the best opportunity, which has the best outcome for us. That is the masculine disposition, where you step out of life, you go into the witness position, and from the witness position, you can create a vantage point, a perception, a field of awareness, which then informs you which direction you should go in, which route you should take. So metaphorically, if you imagine, the masculine is a boat on an ocean. And when you put the sails up, it's still going to be blown around. But when you put the rudder in the water and you have a direction, we're going to go over to North America. We're going to go to Florida. We're going to go to Vancouver. We're going to go to Trinidad. Wherever we're going to go, it's putting the anchor down and putting the rudder in the water and directing where we're going is the masculine consciousness. Everyone following me so far? All of us have masculine consciousness, whether we're men or women. Regardless of our sexual preference, regardless of our sexual styles, masculine is an eternal aspect of all our beings, not meant for anyone in particular. We all have it. So the masculine is unfettered freedom, freedom consciousness. Now, this consciousness, this aspect of us, has zero movement. It is stillness. So when you see spiritual teachers, masters, enlightened beings who are deeply awakened in their enlightened masculine, they tend to be very still. They tend to say less. They tend to emanate an aura that draws you in, brings you into deeper stillness. All the teachings that have to do with quieting the mind, quieting the space, quieting the riffraff and the ripples of distraction. Meditation, most 95%, 90% plus of all meditations are masculine based, not feminine based. Why? Because those who have had a masculine awakening realize, the problem is that we've got too much interference. We've got too much movement. So the greater we can go into stillness and cessation of movement, and we come into the center of being, this is a masculine enlightenment, not a feminine enlightenment. But because when people who are masculine get enlightened, by their nature, they want to log it. They want to make it into step by step. They want to make it so that it's repeatable, duplicatable. Others can get on their journey. And if you look at most spiritual teachings on the planet, they have male originations, or masculine originations, far more than feminine. And the leaders tend to be far more male than female. Why? Because we're in a very masculine, skewed reality. Because to go somewhere, to attain a goal, to be somewhere, to achieve something, to break through barriers, to break through obstacles, these are all masculine values. Because the masculine in our being is absolute freedom, total freedom, when we incarnate into the realm of reality of this three-dimensional reality, if you will, then the masculine has to take on restrictions. So the masculine's journey, or the masculine heroic journey, is to go from restriction and containment and obstacles into greater and greater and greater freedom. Are you following me so far? So in a masculine sport, as an example, here's a line over there. There's a line. I got a ball, whether it's a football, whether it's a basketball. When the ball passes that line, as soon as we pass that line, it's like elation, exhilaration, orgasm. But there's challenge along the way, right? No one lets you just take the ball and get to the other side. They put up obstacles, barriers. They try to knock you down, try to take the ball out of the way. So that is a metaphor for the masculine bliss. Let's get the obstacles out of the way. Come out of the obstacle, move out of the obstacle, overcome the obstacle, go underneath them, deke them out. And then when the ball goes through the hoop, passes the line, it's like a masculine orgasm. Build up, build up, build up. Explosion, yay, happiness for about 20, 30 seconds. There's no mind, total emptiness in the masculine orgasm. There's just elation. And after about 10, 15 seconds, It's like, oh, I just want to be here because there's nothing to do. So the deepest bliss of the masculine is to rest in the bliss of emptiness. So whenever you have been resting in the bliss of doing nothing, you've been nourishing the essence of your masculine. The drama of the masculine is, am I free enough? Can I be free enough? Will I be free enough? So the highest virtue and value of the masculine side within us is the seeking of greater freedom. So who wants more freedom? Financial freedom. Who wants more relationship freedom? Who wants more time freedom? Who wants more spiritual freedom? Emotional freedom? All these type of freedoms. The desire to have greater and greater freedom is the masculine impulse. Because in our core being, we are free, but we've forgotten it in a temporal reality. And so we seek in the temporal reality the faint remembering, the glimmer of the absolute freedom we already are. And so we use superficial or stage down, step down methods to gain a superficial freedom. It could be, I'll drink a beer. Oh, I'm a little bit, or I'll drink a little. So you start drinking and you go, oh, okay. For the masculine, when they overdrink, they're emptying out their mind. They're like, there's nothing to think about. When the masculine ejaculates and has sex, they build up, there's nothing to think about. I've got no worries for the next 15 seconds before, hey, honey, hey, this, the phone call comes, the business comes in, I got to do this, I got to do. All the doings of life is what the masculine aims to have greatest cessation with. So who's getting this part within themselves? So we all have that, all of us. So let's just embrace that stillness and say, I love my masculine. I love the totality of myself that seeks freedom. And just sit with that, let that land. And feel the part of you that has always already been free. Always already has been free. We're freer than most people on the planet. Just to make a call in the middle of a day, how many people have that opportunity? So we've already earned enough units of freedom to be even here. So feel that and emanate freedom in all directions. And you can feel when people are emanating it. You can absorb it in others. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a few deep breaths in and out. So if the masculine is nothingness, then guess what the feminine is? It's everythingness. It's the whole cosmos. It's all the whole universe. All the universes. If you believe in multi-dimensions, it's all the dimensions. Any form of dimensionality, any form of experience, taste, touch, feelings, expression, listening, seeing is all the realm of the feminine. The feminine, whereas the masculine is the stillness that's unchanging. The feminine within our consciousness is that which is ever, ever, ever unfolding and changing as ebbs and flows and movements. But there is never any stillness in the feminine. So if you look at a biological, cellular, atomic level, even though, a chair here or something we have that looks still, it's not still. At a subatomic level, the vibratory rates, the movement is incredibly fast. Millions of miles per hour, things are moving in at micro levels. They only appear solid and stiff, but everything is energy. So the feminine is the mastery and the realms of all energetic flows of existence, all of them. If you go, the masculine bliss is going from somethingness to emptiness. So if a more masculine person enters the room and they see, oh, there's this here, there's this here, there's this here. They do their best to try to simplify it and come down to zero, to zen. Those with a more feminine essence, far more feminine, if they come in the room, they see this, they say, how can we decorate it so it magnifies the inherent beauty and light of the space? The masculine goes, how can we simplify it and eradicate and take away stuff so it magnifies the flow and the simplicity of the space. Now, we don't have one or the other. Remember, we have the whole spectrum within us. Now, the feminine essence within us, also the highest value of the feminine is the flow of love and connection and communication and sharing and unity. So when the feminine is at its highest bliss, it's sharing love. It's feeling, the feminine you feels loved and appreciated and nurtured and seen for their beauty and their light. And also when you're in your feminine and you're sharing the beauty you see in others, you're experiencing the joy of life. You're experiencing the flowers. The masculine's like, okay, I got to get to the next meeting to complete this. One day when I get X, Y, and Z complete, then I'll be free. Who knows about that one? That's the #1 masculine disease. One day when I finish X, then I'll be free. It's an illusion. It never happens. So if any of you have got that, it's an illusion. It doesn't matter if you've got a magical number of 100,000 per month, per year, billion, 2 million. You will never achieve that. When I have this, and this is achieved, then I'll be finally free to do what? If you've got that thinking, it's erroneous and you need to stop it. Because what happens is then as that is about to be fulfilled, there'll be something else comes in that needs to be fulfilled. Something else that almost needs to come in to be fulfilled. So you'll never get caught up with the true fulfillment in the moment. Can you get this, what I'm saying here? So the feminine is the flow of love. Will you love me? Do you love me? The worst pain of the masculine or the feminine side is not feeling the flow of love. Not being loved enough, not feeling love in the family, love in the community, love on the planet. Who knows what I'm talking about? That's within our soul as well. All of that. So the highest virtue of the feminine is the flow of love. The highest virtue and value of the masculine is the attainment of greater freedom. So let's take a few breaths. And any shares on that? Any shares or questions or expressions on that?
Just put your hand up. I'll unmute the folks that are on the phone lines in case any of you feel called to share. Those of you who don't have.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the next piece then, okay? So we've talked about the masculine, which is emptiness. Feminine is fullness. If you go to a store in the mall, are there more feminine stores of clothing or more masculine stores for clothing? Far more feminine oriented. Far more. Me, I'm more masculine oriented, which means that if you look at my cupboard, I've got 3 of the same dress pants, because once I find one, I want the same. I got 2 of the same type of shoes. And I like this shirt, the way it fits. So I bought like 2, 3 more of the exact same cut, but slightly different color, only because the feminine people in my life say, look, at least change up your colors, dude. So for me, I tend to be very simple. My closet, even my bedroom, I'm much more masculine. I have a futon on the floor, an altar, and I've got nothing else. I'm very, and when I got even a little bit more things coming in my room, I go a little crazy. My wife's room, which is just next door, we have our own separate rooms. Her room is luscious. It's designed by a goddess. It's got beautiful colors and hues and cushions. It's romantic, it's sensual, it's sexual. And I only get invited there. I can't just walk in. Now, when I get invited there, it means it's a good thing for me because I've been invited to the temple of the goddess. And that's the way we appreciate and we take on the game of our relationship. So because my room is stark and dry and very zen and it's beautiful, but it has its own beauty, and my wife's has its own beauty. And that's just to show you the contrast of how this shows up in life. Okay. Now, each and every one of us, we have a natural resting position on the scale of masculine and feminine. So if you imagine a piano scale, some sides are, who plays piano? You want to play piano? Okay. So there's the heavier, deeper notes, on the right side of the keyboard, and then there are lighter notes on the left side. So if you imagine masculine and feminine, none of us is absolute. The spectrum flows through us, but we have a natural resting position by birth. I'll use me as an example. I am 70% masculine, 30% feminine. So if on the scale right here, I'm around here. By birth, that means more of my consciousness, more of my natural state of being is seeking greater freedom, and less is seeking greater love. It's not that one or the other. It's not binary. It's just more so. It happens to be that I attract my partner, my beloved Suzanne, my wife for 30 plus years, and she happens to be more feminine at her deepest core, but 70% and 30% masculine. We always attract our reciprocal in energetic balance. And if we don't, it ends up disasters. It ends up, because if you have two masculines, you'll be butting heads together all the time. You'll never get any, you're like, what do you want to do? I don't know, let's do this. No, we need to do this. We need to do that. That's two masculines. If you have two feminines come together, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you feel like? I don't know. What do you feel like? I don't know. What do you feel like? If no one takes the direction, it'll always be like that. It'll be constant movement or constant direction. We are somewhere in that place energetically. Now, to make matters more difficult and confusing, is we have our natural resting position, and then we have the unhealthy and healthy imprints of society of what they tell us masculine and feminine should be on top of our core. So as an example, I'll use an example. Young girl, she's, let's say a child, she has a sister, and she's very feminine in her core, meaning she's radiating light, because the feminine is light. It's the light of the divine. It's what love looks like. That's why the feminine loves to be seen. That's why there's so many more clothes and beauty related to the feminine world. Why? Because if the feminine is not seen, it feels closed. It doesn't feel loved. The feminine needs to be seen. And that's when there's someone who's a present person in their masculine, it's delicious for a feminine person to be felt and seen by someone with great presence. Am I right? So this is a very powerful energy to recognize, that this feminine part in us is seeking love, and our masculine part is seeking freedom. Now, each and every one of us, like I said, we're somewhere on the skew, somewhere on the scale. But this young girl, let's say she's pure radiance as young, and she has a sister, and let's say her sister is into, whatever, kid stuff. And, the mom and dad comes by and says, honey, your sister's pretty, but you're going to be somebody. Your sister's all shiny and light and playing with tutus and dolls, but you're going to be somebody. So what was the first impression that was made on this girl? That the feminine joy of being just the bliss of light is not as valuable as attaining good grades, being somebody, being intelligent, being able to create a career, craft money, be independent and such and such. So already the imprint is made that the feminine is less than the masculine, because the feminine is just being the light of radiance, of beauty. So she realizes, okay, my sister is getting attention for her tutus and shininess. I'll be somebody, I'll study and I'll be somebody. So she develops a false masculine shell covering her true feminine heart. She picked up a false idea that the masculine is more valuable, because maybe in her family it was. Then later as a teenager, as an example, let's say she's in school, now her hormones are starting to come up, she wants to be seen. And again, I'm using, you could use any example of gay, lesbian, whatever, but I'm using a straight example here. She sees that the girls that are getting attention from the boys are the ones that are dressing up in a particular way. When I was a teenager, it was a type of Santana jeans and halter tops and Brampton. Anyone from Brampton, you might be catching my era here. But we had, every era has its clothes of what it means to be cool and sexy and to attract other teenagers, right? Whatever clique you're in and such. So in that particular, okay, I know you have to go to the men's prison. Have a great session, and then you can pick this up later, okay? So as this girl grows, she recognizes, okay, if I wear these type of clothes and that looks sexy, halter top, whatever, then guess what? I'm getting boys' attention. So now she develops a false feminine idea of being whatever on top of her false masculine, covering her true feminine heart. Then later, let's say she grows into a young adult and does some personal development work or some type of empowerment type of training, Tony Robbins or Landmark, anything that's saying be somebody, do something, achieve, be stronger, don't be dependent on others. So then she develops a strong masculine shell covering a strong feminine shell covering another shell covering her true heart. Bizarre, right? Then she does, let's say, goddess work later, and then okay, maybe I need to be more feminine, then puts on all this. So again, it's another shell covering another shell covering another, all these false shells covering the true essence. And guess what, everyone? We are all like that. We have our true essence covered up with many shells. Who knows what I'm talking about? Who does she attract? Let me tell you who she attracts. This is going to be very interesting. Who she attracts is a boy, let's say, for example, who's got a strong masculine essence, which means he wants to know what freedom is, wants to know what's the meaning of life. Those who have a strong masculine essence, they want to take a clock and break it apart. What's behind it? They want to take a toy, smash it. They want to take a bug, kill it, and see what is behind it. Those with the feminine heart go, ooh, what are you doing? Those with the masculine, I'm investigating the nature of reality. That's what Einstein did. What's the nature of reality? What's behind the workings of this? That's the masculine consciousness. So he has a masculine energy. He wants to assert his direction, but every time he wants to assert direction, I want to try this. Nope, you can't do that. Nope, it's dangerous. No, don't do that. He's overprotected, overcoddled, not allowed to have his direction shine. Or let's say there's a lot of anger in his household, or let's say from the father figure or male figure, and he realizes that if there's this anger around me, that I have to be calm or I'll get in trouble or stuff. So he suppresses his masculine energy and has to be hypersensitive as not to upset other people. So this masculine energy in his core develops a false feminine shell of hypersensitivity so as not to avoid the harm or getting yelled at or getting slapped or whatever. Then he grows into teenagerhood, realizes, oh, if I want to get attracted, if I want attention from the girls, maybe I got to dress like, for me, Fonzie, right? It was like jean jacket, Levi's jean jacket, Levi's jeans was the cool thing, some rock t-shirt that in my era. And that was what the macho guys wore to get attention from the girls. It's different for everyone, but so then so there's a false masculine covering a false feminine covering the true heart, the masculine heart. And then later he realizes, he grows up and says, okay, man, I've been really in this masculine achievement. I've been like my father, working my buns off. I don't want to do that anymore. And he takes a growth workshop, goes out in the bush, grows his hair, starts wearing more colorful clothing, starts learning to relate to his emotions and get in touch with his inner feelings. And so he develops that side. But if he goes overboard, he develops a false feminine, covering a false masculine, covering a false feminine, covering his true masculine heart. And guess what? This is what we're dealing with most people. We're dealing with these layers of false identities false identities covering our true essence. So let's just take a few minutes with that. I know I gave you a lot there. How many can see parts of themselves in this story somewhere along the line?
Absolutely.
Okay, any shares or questions about this so far?
Yeah, I remember this one kind of blew my mind when we did it at the Master Trainer Weekend, Satyen.
Yes.
Because it felt so true when we started doing it, and you had to start dancing in the masculine and feminine energies. It was so amazing. I'd love to open it up and see if anybody has any questions or comments or anything you want to share at this point, because that's like a powerful download and feeling very true. Lisa, I see you waving your hand. Do you want to?
Yeah, I just, as you're talking about all the layers and the shells and all of that, I guess my question for you is, you very clearly state that you believe your true essence is 70-30. How do you come to that Where does that come from? And how do we know what that is naturally versus what shells were created so young they feel like true essence?
Exactly. Very good. Very good question. There's some telltale signs to help you dial in. There's one-on-one work and deeper work you can do to really dial in, but overview from the big picture. Take a look at your sexual dreams. Are your sexual dreams, in your sexual dreams and fantasies, are you more equal size and equally being the ravisher and ravishee, mean you're being taken and taken? You're the one who is more the romancer versus the one that's being romanced. If you're equal, you're more closer to the center. If you're the one that loves to, in your sexual fantasies, to be more ravished, to be taken, to be spun around, danced, and to go into bliss, not know what's coming up, be surprised, be lifted off your feet, thrown over your shoulder, then you're more feminine in your energy. Obviously with love, not without love. And if you're more of the feeling of, I like to ravish and take and penetrate, I want you, more so of that energy, then you're more naturally in the more masculine. So your dreams and your fantasy will reveal more of you where you stand. So for me, I love being the ravisher in relationship most of the time, more of the time. I would not say most, more of the time. But I also love when my wife does that for me, when it surprises me in a sensual, sexual way. I love that as well. But if it's all the time, it would be a little, if it was more so, it'd feel a little off. And if I was only the ravisher, it would feel out of balance. So these are, when I say 70-30, I'm using an artful way to explain a metaphysical concept. So you can't be too rigid about it, but you're far more feminine. Your deepest essence is definitely feminine. And you have cultivated very powerful masculine traits and capacities. So for you, the key is not, am I masculine or feminine? The key is to make your masculine qualities you've cultivated in service to your feminine. Your feminine is your true power source. And those qualities you've developed in your masculine so readily, so powerfully, you make them the servant of your feminine. Not the feminine is the servant to your masculine. So see, when you see, automatically, you just start to bloom.
Just because I don't normally get told that I'm very feminine. So that just makes me.
It's your essence.
I love the idea of the masculine being in service to the feminine. So I'm like, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I like that idea.
Okay. So that's it's a cultivation of viewpoint. Okay. All right. So let's take this now deeper into leadership and guidance. Okay. So in terms of leadership and guidance and supporting yourself and others, the masculine within us grows through loving challenge. The feminine within us grows through loving praise and acknowledgement. I'll give you an example. So my children, my daughter is far more feminine. And you can have it's not to say that all women, I'd say about 70% of women are more feminine oriented. I'd say about 20% are more, maybe 10, 15% are more masculine at their core, and the rest are closer to the center. There's a few people closer to the center. And I'd say about 70% of most men, roughly, are more masculine. It could be 52%, 50, 40, 60%, just somewhere on this scale. But there's also men who are very feminine. Michael Jackson, he would just go in front of people, at his core, just dance and create extreme bliss for thousands of people in a concert because of the amount of energy and light and exuberance that gets released. You can have a Madeleine Albright, a very powerful politician, in America, who, Margaret Thatcher as an example, at their core, they can direct armies and whole countries and be very this and this and this. So they have at their core masculine. So it doesn't mean that they're less of a woman. It doesn't mean that you're less of a man. It just you're still a full woman and a full man. It just means your energetic disposition is somewhere along that scale. Now, the masculine is moved by challenge. My daughter, as I was sharing, is moved by loving praise. So before I knew this, I would just challenge her because I grew up in a very masculine-oriented martial art world where there was no praise. It was challenge, 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 constant challenge. And because I was also involved in business and my family has been entrepreneurial all their life, it's also a very masculine world of attainment, achievement, goal orientation, next attainment, next achievement, next plateaus, next vistas, all these type of things. So in my ignorance, I was trying to use challenging philosophy to grow and to support my wife and my daughter, not knowing I was crushing them. I was crushing them, and I didn't even know it. I thought I was doing good for them. So now what I've come to recognize when in my teams, when I'm training and I'm working with organizations, when I'm working with my own teams, when I'm training other team leaders, I say there's a masculine and feminine part to everyone. Become more sensitive to it. And then rather than just challenge, if the person is more feminine, then give them more praise. Start with the praise. Not unreal praise for what they're doing well. Acknowledge it. I really want to acknowledge the quality, the care that you've been putting in this. I want to acknowledge and let you know that I see your dedication on how you've been coming on time and you're going the extra mile. I want to let you know the quality of work that you've been doing and the precision and the care I feel and I see it. This is really awesome. So by giving praise and acknowledgement to the feminine, you grow the feminine. If you're a lady and you're a mom, do not challenge your men in your life. Let other men challenge the men. If you challenge the men in your life, you're taking on the masculine role, which then depolarizes your sexuality and makes you neutralized in them and actually can repel attraction if you're challenging the men in your life. You can challenge the women in your life pragmatically. Now, if you're a boss, if you're a leader, then you need to go into that hat and challenge, but in a way that takes into account the fullness of their being, their expression. In the intimate relationships, don't do it. Be inviting. Don't challenge. Invite. Especially if they have more of a feminine essence. Now, the masculine grows by challenge. So my son, who's far more masculine, I'll praise him about 3 out of 10 times. I'll sandwich it. I'll give him some praise, but then I say, okay, son, you got to hunker down with this piece here. Come on, buddy. You got to hunker down with this. Whatever loving challenge I can give him. He's now, where my wife and I, he's now moved out for the last 2 months. So my wife and I are empty nesters for after 22 years. But I still need to challenge him. Okay, son, how's your finances? Okay, dude, I want you to start working on saving a little bit more every month. I know you don't want to save when you're 20, but I want you to start disciplining yourself, because when you do, by the time you're 30, man, you'll have enough for buying this and passive income and whatever. But I use challenging language encapsulated in praise. For my daughter, I use much more praise language with a little bit of challenge. Now, in management, I do the same. So when I'm leading my teams, I'm always sandwiching challenge as well as praise. And when I'm working one-on-one, I'm doing it even with more artistry and nuance. So that's the key. The key in management and leadership is that. Challenge versus praise. How many of you are going to up your dose of awareness of what to offer, when, and to whom? Beautiful. This is one of the management leadership secrets that is very few people know about, because we've just been taught that everyone's neutral, and they're not neutral. And men are not all men, and women are not all women. This is also a broad generalization, which is not accurate. But what is much more accurate from my perception is that we all have masculine, feminine energies, and we need to honor the full spectrum of it, and then honor the uniqueness of each individual and where they are on that spectrum. Now, another way to find out, and Adam, I'll get to you in a second, another way to find out how skewed are they is to take a look at the movies, your movies, throughout a year. Are more of them having to do with the drama of love? Will love be found or lost? Love stories, romantic love stories, or more having to do with the challenge of there's a huge mountain, there's 100 men versus 2 men here or 1 guy, and is it a unbeatable odds type movie, action, adventure, 1 man against 1,000? Now, if I look at the movies throughout the year, about I'd say 7 out of 10 are adventure oriented and action oriented and challenge oriented, and I also love stories. So it's a bit of both. Now, the one piece I want to put in, and then Adam, I'm going to come back to you, is prominence. The more you are willing and the more you grow in prominence, the more sexual energy will be released in your body because you're connected to more people. And this is where your impeccability, your honor, your resoluteness, your cultivation of character, as the sexual energy goes, you want to circulate it. You don't want to take advantage of people underneath you. You don't want to take advantage of people who are fawning over your fame and your power, your money, your prominence. Prominence is, the greater you go on prominence, the deeper you need to cultivate humility and the mastery of your sexual energy. And never to use it for just your own gain, but to use it to recognize it's the gift of the universe. It's the gift of the divine.
Beautiful.
So know that as your prominence grows, so will your sexual power. Know that it's the power of creative force. Don't let your ego get caught up in going into, you know what I'm talking about. We don't need to be some small versions of Harvey Weinstein. We need to be enlightened versions. We need to be enlightened versions of recognizing that we are sexual beings and that sexuality is a divine birthright, and that we can connect our sexuality to our heart, to our soul, and to our mission. And we unleashed in our full sexual power as a leader, as an influencer, as an impact maker, then we can realize that this is what we're dealing with and honor it rather than forget it's even there. Okay, let's take a breath.
Brilliant.
Adam, you had to share, and then we'll get to Dr. Elwin.
Well, I just want to do a quick time check here, Satyen, because we're coming to the top of the hour, and this was scheduled as a 60-minute call.
So let's go. Let's go 2-3 more minutes.
Okay, beautiful.
I can do 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. And because I just want to honor, I know a few people have commitments and might need to.
Let's wrap it up as soon as we can. So Adam.
Okay, perfect. And was there a link to your website or anything you wanted to share?
Yeah, my website is warriorsage.com. Get on my email list there because we've got some amazing stuff going on.
Also, there's still room in the Master Trainer program that Satyen's teaching coming up in July. So I'll include the link for that if anybody's interested. So those of you who can stay a few more minutes, Satyen's going to stay with us, but I just wanted to make sure we had that said for those of you that might need to jump off at the top of the hour. So I'll turn it back over to you, Satyen. Thanks.
When we have the training, do your best to get there and call all the other EBI, EBC members there, because it's going to be a huge leap in your leadership to be able to lead teams and people in your own lives and your business, like huge. Adam, let's complete.
So thank you, Teresa. So Satyen, very quickly, in a past life when I worked as a chef, I recognized that a lot of the women that were working in that particular field very often had to espouse very well practiced masculine ways of being in order to either survive or gain rank. And so when I would coach and counsel them or whatever, just looking at myself back then and wondering, was I actually addressing them in the role that they were perpetrating or the essence of who they were? Like when you're talking about loving challenge and loving praise. So that's just a thing for me to move forward. And I've already made the mistake in one-on-one coaching where there's that electrical tension going on and miscommunicating what that is instead of creating boundaries and say, listen, okay, so just recognize what this is, but that's not what this is. We have another relationship going on here. So thank you. Thank you for that clarification. That's all I had.
Dr. Elwin, we have to unmute you.
Yes. We tend to lead and manage in different environments. When we are in different environments, are we looking at the composition of the people within that environment or the nature of the norms and values of that environment?
Take into account all of it, but knowing that the norms and values are societally skewed, but you in your soul look at their soul and see them for the essence they are. That way you're going to be starting a reaction and you're speaking to their soul, not to their role.
Okay. Fantastic.
My friends, it's been really wonderful for your reception, your willingness today. And I know I dove a lot in. I recommend that you listen to this maybe 1 or 2 times and take notes and start celebrating the fullness of the masculine and feminine within us, and to become even more loving, conscious, and conscientious leaders for this new world that we're ushering, in which the feminine is on the rise, the enlightened feminine, and the enlightened masculine is on the rise. So rather than make any of them wrong, let's go for the enlightened version in ourselves and foster that in our society. Thank you, my friends.
Beautiful. Satyen, you are always so generous with your coaching. We just had rave reviews of the Impact Weekend. I'm so thrilled and grateful that you're doing it again for the EBC. If you guys aren't signed up for that weekend yet, it's going to blow your mind.
Is it in Costa Rica?
Yeah, it's in Vancouver at Satyen's home, believe it or not. And it's just a beautiful setting. Ixtlan is just a little piece of paradise that Satyen and Suzanne have created, and they very graciously open up their home to the EBC. So it's a limited number of places because of that, but there are still a few spots left. So if you guys are interested, get yourself registered. So Satyen, thank you so much. It's just a joy to have you here today.
All my love, everyone. And you can also get on my Facebook page, Warrior Sage Community. Warrior Sage Community, look for it. You have to apply and then I'll let you in, okay? All right, love you all. Have yourself a great day and keep that sexual energy all ramped up at the highest level of vibration. Okay.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Satyen. Bye-bye.